Alright, here we go. My new vintage 70s Zebco propane heater. Alright. Look at that. Okay, before I get into talking about this heater, I want to talk about a couple things. If you're going to use a heater in your vehicle, the main thing is safety. Now, it's not so much the carbon monoxide. Yes, any heater that has a flame will produce some carbon monoxide, but with these heaters, like most heaters, these use oxygen. They burn up the air. A lot of people leave their windows open. Personally, to me that's kind of defeating the purpose. What I'm going to do, personally myself, you are more than welcome to do this or not to do this. I have a hose kit, battery hose kit, with a vent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to order a couple more, and I'll show them to you. This type here, and I'm actually going to mount these on my vehicle, one on each side, one low and one high. This is a 2-pack. So I'll spend $15 with the free shipping, and I'll get 2 of these. That'll be one for down below and one for either middle of the van or higher up on the other side of the vehicle. I would go a little bit more than a single, and the reason I'm going to use these is I can actually put a pipe in there or something in there, put it through the wall, put it through the inside wall of my vehicle, and when I don't need them, I can put a cap on them. So that way you don't have to leave your windows cracked. This should be more than enough air for this heater. But what I will do is, I already know where my heater is going to go in my vehicle. It will go next to my side door. So one of these, once I order one of these, or I could just use the one I have, will be mounted on my side door, because that's where the heater is going to go, is close to that area. And that way it can bring the air in, it can burn the air that comes in, and you still have air on the other side. And this should be more than enough air to keep you carbon monoxide down, and keep to where you have a decent amount of air. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you mine. Like I say, this is actually for a battery box I'm going to build. You can see it has the vent, and it has this part. Now what I'm going to do, or what I could do, or what you could do, give me a second, take this apart. Now you see how that's shaped. This goes on the inside of your wall like this, and this would come on the inside of your vehicle. And if it won't reach, you have some options. This piece of pipe here came from one of these right here, one of my shelves. Now I understand you probably don't want to run out and buy a shelf like this just for a piece of pipe. You may be able to find some at a hardware store, but if you have some of these shelves laying around, they will fit on the inside. It takes a little work to get it in there, but it'll go in. If you can't afford one of those, or you don't have a piece of pipe that will actually fit around this, your next easiest solution is just your basic caulk tube, and you cut it off wherever you need it. And here at the end, just put some caulk around it, silicone, something around it, let it dry, and you can see it's holding on pretty well. And this isn't even, see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. But once you got caulk around here or silicone around here, it'll seal it up, it'll make it fit tight, and you can always just cut this down and then just put some kind of cap over it on the inside of your vehicle. So basically this will be on the outside, right, and it screws down. On the inside, this will be on the inside right here. This will be on the outside, goes through the wall, the screws go through, and it pulls it tight, and you put some silicone around it. If you put silicone or caulk here, let it dry, this will go through your wall right here. This will go through whatever internal wall you have. Just make it a little bit longer, let it stick out about an inch or so, and then cut it. That will bring airflow in. This is the cheapest route to go. My hose kit here, I did buy it for a battery box, was really expensive compared to what I found just without the hose. These are battery box vent with cone backing plate. Alright, don't just look for the vent. You actually have to have this part to hook your hose up to. Now the vent goes on the outside. Like I said, I mean, that's what I'm gonna do. I figured if I put 2 on there, that's more than enough as far as air. That's just me. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, then go ahead and just keep your windows open. So like I say, these little heaters do, any catalytic heater that's working well produces very little carbon monoxide if it's in good working condition. But if it's not, then you definitely need a way for that to escape. And these do 100% burn oxygen. So I'm just letting you know. Alright, this is the new Zebco Traveler. Alright, let me check the back, make sure everything's good, and I'll check it out and I'll show you how it works. Alright, it took a little for me to get this big bottle in here, considering this actually is supposed to take these small slim bottles, so it was a little hard to get it in here, but I got it in because I wanted to show it to you working. Now the first thing you do anytime you have a heater, that you want to automatically make sure immediately that you have no leaks. Now here I have a spray bottle with just some soapy water in it. If you don't have a spray bottle, you can get one of them little spritzer bottles. They're, you know, about this big with a little push cap on it. Fill that up. Alright, let me turn this on. And we don't want that on stream. Want to spray. Alright, I don't see any bubbles. And anytime you get something especially old and used, always make sure. Alright, let me move this. I'll set this up and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to try to light this with just a regular lighter. It may go poof. What you want to do is you want to turn this on for 5 seconds. Alright, all the way up. Right here where the red dot is. 5 seconds. Then you put the match or the lighter to it at the bottom, and you go across the bottom. And like I say, it may poof out. Hopefully it doesn't, but it probably will. So let's go. Turn this on. There it goes. There we go. Now I'm trying to light this with a lighter, and it's really hard to tell if this is lit or not. Oh yeah, it's lit. I can feel the heat from here. On this video, you may see blue, but it's actually not blue. It's actually red. And you can tell if I put this up there, it is lit. Now, unlike the Mr. Buddies and some other heaters, this only has to stay on for a short amount of time on high, and then you can turn it down. I mean, it's producing a lot of heat right here. Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot of heat. Alright. Now let's turn this down. Wow, that's still producing quite a bit. Let me turn these lights off and see if I can get a image of that. I forgot this switch. There we go. I don't know if you can see that or not. It looks blue on my camera, but it's definitely not blue. That is definitely hot. I'm a pretty good ways away from it, and you can see it just warming up, and that is the front. Wow, that's putting out a bunch of heat. Let's turn that down. Phew, wow, that's hot. It's definitely hot. I mean, I feel it from here. Alright. Alright, let me turn this off. Now, on mine, you have to turn it a couple times around, actually, to get it to go all the way up. I think the thing is just a little loose. I'll probably have to tighten that up. But, wow. It's definitely warm. Alright. Let me turn the lights back on so you can get a good look. Wait, another light. Wrong light. I'm sorry about this. It's just, whew. Now the heater's not that big, but it's definitely putting out massive amounts of heat. Alright. If you're going to use a heater like this with a 20-pound tank, my advice to you, you can go on eBay. Let's see if I even found one. Let's see. I could have swore I had a picture for y'all. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, I guess I don't have a picture for you. Unless it's in another folder. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and get on eBay. And I think I have, yes, I do. Alright, I have these bookmarked. If you're going to use this on a 20-pound tank, you need one of these. It doesn't have to be a stand broil, but it needs to be a low profile or low pressure regulator. You have to have a regulator on this to use it on a 20-pound tank. You can find these, like this one's 14. Let's see, I think I clicked the same one. Oh, right there. This one's 13. You have to have a regulator on this. Alright. This end will not fit. You will have to have an adapter piece to go from this to your heater. But you definitely have to have a regulator. Do not try to hook this up just to a straight hose. Okay, well, I have one on the car. In the van, I can show you. But like I said, you definitely have to have something with a regulator. Do not try to hook this straight up to a tank without a regulator on it. I know they sell hoses that'll do it, but do not do that. That is a really bad idea. Alright, let me shut this down. I'm going to take this out in my van, and I'm going to show you about where I'm going to put it. And see what it does out there. So, and I'm going to have to apologize up front. My van has windows that are a little bit tinted. This camera does not work well at all, even with all the lights on in this little mini studio we're in. So it's probably not going to show up very well inside my van. So I have to apologize up front. But I do want to test this and check it and see how well it works out there. My van, I do not actually have to open a window. When I purchased my van, I purchased it from a woman that was handicapped. She had a bunch of handicap equipment in there, a lift and tie downs. And she asked if she could keep it. When I purchased the van, I said sure. Unfortunately, the people that put it in didn't use the right nuts and bolts, and they rested solid to the floor. And all that stuff actually had to be cut out. I mean, literally, the floor had to be cut out so she could keep her stuff, you know, her handicap lift and all that other stuff. So, you know, now I have huge holes in my floor that I actually have to patch. So I'm not worried about the oxygen from me, not with them big holes. But for you, I would definitely get something, a couple of these, at least a couple of these. You know, something you can hook a hose up to and run on the inside. Something you can, you know, like put a hose in there, a tube, and then you can always cap the other end if you don't want air coming in. Alright, let me shut this down. I'll take this out and see what it does. Alright, I'm out in my van. I got it on. I got it on lowest setting. I can feel heat pretty well. I went ahead and opened one of my windows back there. I've been out here for just a couple minutes. You can already feel the warmth. Right there is my door. I plan on putting the heater right there in front of that door. I'm going to pull that box down. It's a tissue box. And that's where I'm going to put my hole for my vent. Right there. Or probably a little bit closer over this way. Right about there, I guess. And that way the air can come in there and go to the heater. And I will probably put another vent back over there on my back corner. You can see my back door. There's the side wall. Probably over in there somewhere. Yeah, it's definitely putting out heat. And if I wanted to warm it up quicker, I just turn it up. Now this catalytic heater is a really good heater. You can buy the Mr. Buddy or whatever you like. But if it's not super cold out, but it's still cold, this would save you so much on fuel. Now I did tell you I have a hose and adapter, but this is the type you don't want to have. If you're going to hook up a hose to this, you need to have one with a regulator. I do have one of these. it does not have a regulator on it. And the reason I'm saying you want a regulator, if you're going to hook it up to a 20-pound tank, those 20-pound tanks or higher kick out a lot of pressure. Now, even if you have a really good hose, it can actually blow that hose on this heater once it starts to warm up. You have to have a low flow regulator. These heaters only accept so much propane, okay? Even on the Mr. Heater, Mr. Buddy, on the Coleman heaters, any heater you have that you're running propane, have a low flow regulator. Just don't buy one of these connectors to go from a 20-pound tank. I don't know if you can see the end again, right there, to hook it straight up. This would be fine on an outside barbecue pit or something like that, but you know, I have a whole box of stuff over here, but your life depends on your common sense and your safety. That's why I said, if you're worried about leaving your windows open, or if you think that's going to bring too much cold air in, because if you open one of these little windows here, the window kicks outward and you have a gap all the way around, you know, literally, which is going to bring in a whole lot of cold air. If you have little windows like this on the back like I have, they're fine. But if it's raining, I mean, you're going to get water inside your vehicle. That's why I said the best idea I have that I came up with was to put some of those vents on my vehicle itself. And once they're installed, I can always put some type of cap over the end. I mean, they only have to be stuck out about an inch or so away from, you know, wherever you came in. That way you have plenty of air coming in. You can always cap it off, you know, while you're driving so air doesn't come in. And if you don't need it, you know, shoot, even during the summer, you could open them up and get some air inside your vehicle, you know, a little bit if you don't want to open your windows. Or if it's raining, then you can at least have some air in your vehicle without having to worry about water getting in. Okay, that's working. I mean, I could possibly turn it up, but I'm not going to. It seems to be working okay. Right now, I believe it's like 35, 33, something like that. There is snow all over the ground. Now, if this is installed in my vehicle full time, and if I had to sleep in my vehicle, you can see my vehicle, my van is full of junk. That's the air conditioner. Then we have our new air conditioner. It is at 10,000 BTU. So if you watch my other video on that, you'll hear me say 8,000. It's not a 8,000. It's actually a 10,000. Okay. And you can hear the propane. And yeah, definitely feel the heat. Okay. I give this little heater a great review. You can buy small heaters like this from Coleman. You can buy the Mr. Buddy. But if you're having to live in your vehicle, especially in winter where there's snow everywhere and it's cold, then yeah, you definitely need some way to heat it up. This is a good little heater. I do recommend it. And like I say, it's from the 70s. Unfortunately, the way this heater's made, to get a 20-pound tank, not 20-pound, but a big 1-pound cylinder that you get at Walmart, you do have to bend the heater out a little bit to get the tank off and on, which is no big deal. I mean, I can always bend that back and shut the door and just get some regular skinny tanks to fit it. But what I plan on doing is I actually plan on getting an adapter hose and a 20-pound tank for this. And I actually plan on installing my 20-pound tank in here somewhere, maybe back there in the corner somewhere, or you know, right here, you know, next to the door, and just put it in a box and run it through the floor. Because like I said, I have huge holes in this floor. That's why I have plywood down, and you can see the big crack in the plywood. I mean, I actually wouldn't even have to have my window open. There's so much air in here right now. But for your average person, you have to have air. A lot of it. These heaters burn air. And while, like I said, a catalytic heater that's working perfectly produces nearly zero on the carbon monoxide, that's not what you have to worry about. Most people that die from these heaters is not from the carbon monoxide, it's from the no air, because these heaters do burn air. So any heater you get that has a flame or you light is going to burn air. So just use common sense on it. Like I said, this little heater I'd give a 10 out of 10. And that's all I can say on this. I understand you've been waiting on this review on this heater. I told you I'd do a video when it came in, but once again, I wanted to make sure you understood you have to have air. Anytime you have propane or any type of fuel, it burns oxygen. And that's why I said go with the vent kits that I showed you. If I mounted a vent right there where that door is, next to that on this side, and I mounted one back here somewhere, anywhere. I mean, I could put it right here between these two windows on this side, right there. You know, you want to have one on one side, one on the other side. You want to have a cross flow. So make sure you just don't put them on the same side. Make sure you don't block them off. Because like I said, I'm not thrilled about if I have to camp somewhere or if I'm having to stay in my vehicle, about leaving my windows down. I mean, I understand if you're worried about safety or air, put 3 of those on. You know, instead of 2, put 3 on. The only reason I would put 2 on is because I already have giant holes in my floor in the first place. But from everything I've seen and read up on these heaters, 2 of those vent kits, like I showed you, that should be enough air. But like I said, if you're worried about it, put 3 on there. And you can always cap one off if you don't need it to keep the cold air out. As you can tell, it's getting cold in here again. I don't know if you can see, that's my breath. Of course, I did turn the heater off. When I had the heater on, I had it on low, and my breath didn't do that because it was starting to warm up in here. These heaters aren't that big. They do put out quite a bit of heat. So, like I said, it doesn't matter if you're using Mr. Buddy, Coleman, Zebco. I do like this Zebco. Eventually what I'll do is I'll either get an adapter kit for this so the 20-pound bottle can be hooked up, or it will be easier for me to hook up the 1-pound green bottles to this, because you actually have to bend the heater a little bit to get them to work right and get up in there. It's just too hard to screw them in, but they do work. That's what I have in there now. And like I said, I mean, it's a good little heater. I do recommend this heater. It is adjustable from 2,000 BTU to 7,000 BTU. The knob's a little bit hard to understand, but you'll get the hang of it. You know, don't worry about it. It's easy to light. You could see it did not just flare up a huge flare like some of the heaters do. And like I said, I mean, that's it on this heater. I hope you enjoyed my review on it. I hope you enjoyed me showing you the heater. Another thing I have to talk about is if you're living in your van, this seat I have here, this is my rear seat. I actually tore it apart because I'm going to be using the frame up underneath it to make a regular like bed out of. And we actually have a porta potty back there. You can use a 5-gallon bucket. My advice, if you're going to use that, get some insulation for water pipes. Put it over the top so it don't actually hurt your rear end on that, and just use trash bags and, you know, do your business, and then tie them up, drop them in the bottom. I'd start with like 5 or 6 trash bags opened up on the inside, one inside the other, and then once you get done using one, wrap it up, tie it up, and just drop it in the bottom. And that way you got 3 more usage out of that, and it'll keep the smell down once you wrap it up and tie it up. Anyway, I'm fixing to get out of here. I just wanted to let you see the heater. I said I would do a review on this. I've done this review. It's a good little heater. It's not that big. It puts out quite a bit of heat. I mean, even with the holes I got in my floor, which I wish I could show you, but I got all this junk in here. And that window open, it's open like 2 inches, 3 inches. Probably about 3 inches at the top, maybe a little more. And opening a rear, a small window like this is much better than opening a window like that on the back. That is way too much air. Or a window over here like this. I do apologize, this video is long, and my batteries are dying again, and I just replaced the batteries. I really hate this camcorder. I would have showed you earlier on this heater, but it just came in the mail. The woman I purchased it from sent it out the next day, and it went to Oregon. And in Oregon, I swear those people are smoking weed so much they can't do their jobs. It was at one facility in Oregon for 3 days. It hit Montana last night, and it got to my house today. So it took Montana literally a day to get it across the state. And this thing was in Oregon, one facility in Oregon for 3 days, and I swear they lost it. I swear they're all high. But anyway, like I said, it's a good heater, and since I got it off, it's starting to cool down in here. So I'm going to go ahead and go. I hope you enjoy my review. I hope you enjoy the heater. If you're going to be in a vehicle, I suggest one of these. It will turn up high to 7,000 BTUs. If that's too much, you can adjust it down. If the Mr. Buddy is too high, even on low, that's because it uses 4,000 at the lowest setting, and you can adjust this to 3,000 or 2,000. So, something like this is a way better choice if you're living in your vehicle. It will use less fuel on the lower settings, and it can keep you warm, especially once your vehicle's warmed up. You can turn it down, it can keep you warm. Alright, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. And remember, be safe. Better safe than sorry. And everybody have a good day. Okay, I was going to end this video just a second ago, and I figured I'd better talk to you about something. If you get one of these Catalytic propane heaters, down here it will tell you, let's see, where is that? Alright, right here. Heater designed for direct tank pressure, system input pressure to Traveler regulator valve. Must be 6 psi or greater. Now understand something. That is not telling you can hook this up to a 20-pound tank, because these heaters were designed for these small bottles, okay? Just remember that. If you decide to hook up a 20, 30, or 40-pound tank, and I would go no higher than 40. Some of these heaters say they'll take 40, some say they take 30, 20. This I know will run on a 30, and from what I've read, it can run up to 40-pound tanks, but you must have a regulator on that, a low flow regulator, to hook it up here. Right there where your bottle hooks up, okay? So if you get a heater like this, I don't care if it's a Mr. Buddy, I don't care if it's a Coleman, I don't care if it's a Zebco. If you're going to put that in a larger tank, and you're going up to 20, 30, or 40 pounds, have a low flow regulator. You have to have that regulator. Now this must be at 6 pounds or greater, but like I said, I would not run this on a 20 or 30 or 40 pound tank without that tank having a regulator. That's too much pressure. Another thing, if you do decide to hook this up, this has one great thing. Right here's the back cover. You see that big hole? That is plenty for you to put a hose up into. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. If you can't, I apologize. It is right there. It's kind of dark in here, but that's plenty for you to run a hose through and still open it. Um, so if that's something you want to do, and remember, this is adjustable to a certain extent. It goes down, it goes up, or just straight. Alright, and I just wanted to clarify that and make sure this is a safety thing. Be safe if you're in a vehicle. Um, don't just throw something together. Make sure it's done properly. Make sure you have adequate ventilation. If you can't get some type of vent like I showed at the beginning of this video, keep your windows cracked. Do go ahead and get a carbon monoxide detector. But like I said, these Catalytic heaters burn almost all the propane, and most people don't die from that. What most people die from is lack of oxygen. So give yourself some ventilation. Make sure the heater has air. That's why I thought the vents would be a really good idea, because if you weren't using them, you could close them off. Wouldn't have to leave your windows cracked. So anyway, that's my review on this. I mean, I love this little heater. It lights up easily. Even with a regular lighter, you can see it takes a little bit. Also, some heaters tell you have to leave them on high for 10 minutes. Alright. This one, let's see, right here. Where is it? Alright. I'm going to read this to you. With heater in upright position, open valve by turning knob counterclockwise until it stops. Wait 5 seconds and then apply lighted match to bottom edge of heater pad. Of course, I didn't use a match, I used a lighter. Hold match in this position until flame on pad ignites. Flame will then spread over an entire surface, and you can see I just moved the lighter back and forth to get it to make sure it ignited quicker. When flame goes out, approximately 30 seconds, heater is in full operation. So you don't have to wait for 10 minutes for the heater like this to work and before you turn it down. The Mr. Buddies, I believe, is 10 minutes on high, and then you can turn it down. That is a whole lot of wasted fuel. So anyway, I really love this little heater. I will end up getting a hose adapter for this, and probably a 30-pound tank. This will be put in my van. And like I said, if you have any comments, let me know. I do plan on hopefully getting the money up, turning my van into like a little camper, and this will go in there. So anyway, I did want to throw this in. I do apologize again for the length of this video. And once again, this little Zebco Traveler is an amazing little heater. You have plenty of room to put a hose in. I mean, look at that. All 4 of my fingers are in that giant hole. So definitely you have plenty of of room to put a hose in. It's not that big. It's only like a foot across by a foot up. I mean, like I said, it's really not that big. So if you need heat in a vehicle, this is the type of heater to use. Just remember, you have to have adequate ventilation, and like I said, stay safe. Don't do things halfway. Make sure that you have oxygen, because this will burn air. Alright, this is the end of this video, and hopefully I'll figure out what to do on the next video. Everybody have a good day.